Hello, this is Tytti Vanhala, an associate trainer for Art to Ride, and here you can see a work session with Pöly on 9th of December, so just about a week ago, since I didn't make this voiceover immediately that day. So I'm just starting as normally, just with walk, and I'm just checking that the solo shot is catching me, and just walking a little bit. I had been walking a little bit back and forth with him there, nearby the camera first. So Pöly was a little bit tense and during that day, and you can see I'm not going all the way to the end of the school because he was looking quite hard on where the jumps are, where the fences are on the other side. So I was just gradually edging towards the other side and just making sure that I have control on him. As here you can see also that he was just a little bit distracted and a little bit tense altogether that day in the beginning. He relaxed as the session went on, but still he was a little bit tense for him. He might not look very tense, but I could feel it as I was riding. And yep, here we start with a little bit of leg yield. Also, as before, I'm also concentrating on keeping him straight so that he won't go through his shoulder, and that was pretty good. And here you can see how he's looking that side. I don't know what was there. I think he was looking at the pile of old tires there. You can see. I think he was looking at them and thought that was highly dangerous that day. I don't know why, but anyway, so I was just edging gradually, and I was just working on this side of the school for a while until he felt good to go further into that side. And a little bit of leg yield there, and he stretches quite okay. He was also a little bit slow in the beginning, but I'd also decided not to really push him too much in the beginning. I was just taking it easy and just asking him just the simple things of a little bit of leg yield, and so that just stays calm and approaching those dangerous tires little by little. And here you can also see how he just wants to have a look at them, but I'm going closer every time, and it works pretty well. But you can see that the dip behind the saddle is more pronounced here in the beginning when he's tense and he's not fully engaged yet. And here you can also see that he just wanted to rush on instead of listening to my inside leg, asking him to do a bit of yield. And that's just his tension coming out that day. But it's okay. I'll just ask simple things in the beginning anyway, and just get on with it. Never mind. And I've done all the leg yielding there, so I'm asking now a little bit of shoulder fore there towards the tires. And it starts to go okay. He's starting to never mind the tires there, and I can get closer and closer to them. And he starts to be a little bit more active also with his stepping under himself, so I'm pretty pleased. And this is looking pretty okay as well. Quite my liking. He was starting to stretch, and he deserved a pat there, because that small bit of yield was pretty nice for me. That he actually listened to my inside leg there and not rushing forward or getting tense or throwing his head up. He just gave me some steps of lovely yield, and then in a nice supple movement there. So that was good. And I think here I'm just concentrating on going forward, kind of straight forward as well. It's not always bending and it's not always yielding. I also want to go these days straight, and that's that's a good exercise for it. It's just asking something different. So I'm pretty pleased with this. I think he could stretch a little bit lower at this point. And that's head there when I was kind of making the corner. I think there he came a little bit too high, so he lost some of his back. And here I'm asking for shoulder 4, and this is very nice. I really like this. This is looking very good. He's really concentrating, and he's really stretching more into it, and he's really stepping under nicely, and in the end he's really working really well there. So that's great. That was really good. There, the camera somehow stayed with DJ for a little bit. Maybe he was a little bit too visible in his nice yellow vest, so he kind of forgot me. And here's another bit of shoulder 4, which is in the beginning there was a little bit too much neck bend to the inside, so I wanted to correct him, straightening up and asking again, and that little bit of shoulder 4 in the end was a lot better. So here is this is a lot better stretching and work from him than the last round at this time, so I was very pleased with that. Very pleased with that work. And here I'm just asking him to move on in a straight line again. I think I'm asking a little bit more activity here. You can see he's picking up the pace a little bit more. And I'm going too far there because he's lifting his head up and losing the work for a bit. So there's also a fine balance there, like how much do you ask? And you just have to notice when you lose the back, when you lose the good work, then you just have to calm yourself down and kind of take a step back and ask a little bit less, so that you get the good work back, as I did there. So that's great. I'm going straight in a straight line again with a little bit more activity there. That's looking a lot better. His head is there a little bit too high perhaps still, but just a little bit lower and it would be perfect for his walking work. Oh, walk in working frame, that is, a little bit higher head carriage. So here I'm asking him to come up a little bit, but it goes slightly too high for him, and somewhere there is okay. So that's pretty good, and I'm letting him stretch down again a little bit more as I turn to the other rein. And then I'm just simply asking the same things again. I'm asking for some leg yields and then shoulder 4s, and then again a little bit more straight work in between, and just suppling him up on this side. And he was a little bit curling there and wanting to stall. It's well, this is his more difficult side, the left side, and he tends to kind of curl up if he's feeling a little bit too stiff, so he just avoids the good work by curling on this side. And he just finds it more difficult to stretch his right side, and that's why this left side is more difficult for him. And I'm just allowing him to stretch as he likes, as slow as he wants to go with his head here. Just going around and asking very little at the first round, and just here I'm just wanting him to yield a little bit because he was starting to look outside. So just a couple of steps of yield. I was correcting him there for like, okay, hello. I'm not demanding very much, but I would like you to kind of not look outside. That was my point there. And here I'm asking a little bit more of a leg yield coming in. I straighten him up, follow his head with my hands and then ask him to yield. This is going a little bit, I remember thinking like, oh, he's leading too much with his hand. He needs to lead more with his front end, and I tried to correct him there. I took him straight a little bit, and in the end he actually gave me a much better yield, where he was leading a little bit more with his front end instead of his going too much sideways and too much with his hind end, so to say. So his front end should lead a little bit more there. And here I'm asking for another yield, and it's a little bit stiff there. Just a couple of steps of it. I don't know why, but that side of the school is always more difficult for him for some reason. It's it's not as easy as this side where I'm coming to now. So this time I decided to take it easier, and I'm just not asking for a yield on this side. I'm just going very gently to the long side and going straight, asking him to just move on and pick up the activity a little bit more and just stretch down as he does now. So that's the sign of him being stiff, that he really stretches out like that, and he doesn't snatch actually his rein anymore. I mean the reins anymore that much as he did maybe a couple of weeks back. So he stopped that snatching hard, so that's a good sign. But there is a little bit of residue left where he just likes to push his head down quite a lot, and there you can see some of it still is left, but it's nowhere near as kind of extravagant as it has been. And here we stop for a little bit of a poo break. That's always allowed. Doesn't happen that often actually that he poos while we work him. But here we go. A pile for DJ to clean up. So there we go. And I'm asking a little bit of a shoulder 4 here then. So something slightly different. I'm just gradually wanting him to stretch that right side of his body a little bit more. I'm quite pleased with this. This looks pretty good actually. In the beginning it was a little bit too much bend there, but the end was looking a lot better. I should have given him a pat there. I think that was pretty good work. Looking at it now, a bit later. And then he's much more relaxed after that. Obviously did very good for him with his body, that little bit of suppling, because that stretch and that work afterwards on the long side there is looking a lot better. He's not snatching at all, or he's not jerking his head down anymore there, but he still wants to stretch as much as he wants, and I allow him to do that. That's fine. And I'm just gradually taking a couple of steps of just a little bit of leg yield there, just a step or so. I know that it's hard for him on this side, so I tend to try like, okay, how do you feel today? And I'm doing a little bit harder leg yield, and then if I notice that he's finding it really tough that day, then I just kind of take it down a bit, make the leg yields a lot less severe or a lot less difficult. It's just take a couple of steps, and from the short side just a couple of steps to the long side, and it's much better for him, and that's okay, because he gets supple in the end always, so that's great. And here I think I'm just shortening my reins a little bit, and I'm asking him to for a little bit harder work here. So I'm picking him up a little bit higher with his head and ask for more activity, and really asking him to step under and carry himself with a little bit of higher head carriage. And he's coping with it pretty well. He's not curling, and he's not really changing anything that much. maybe he could be a little bit more active. And here he's with the turn, he was a little bit resistant there. But here we go again. That was pretty nice stepping. Kind of a medium stretch for him, so that's good. And I think I just changed the rein and gonna do a little bit more walk work here. I asked DJ to go to that side to kind of make Pöly at ease to go really into that other side without him getting tense and without me feeling that he's gonna spook there. So yeah, I was just changing the rein to do this exercise again. So I'm doing a zigzag here, like I've done before in the sessions that I've talked over the couple weeks. So I'm just doing a leg yield from the rail towards the quarter line, and then I'm returning to the rail again, and I'm trying to keep the bend the same so that there is maybe a step or two towards half pass there. So that's what I'm teaching him now, and he's really picking it up very well. Here he's leading a little bit. It's not perfect, but there it starts to get really nice. That leg yield is really happy with that. And then I'm just trying to take him back, and it's working pretty okay. This one this one kind of fell apart in the end, but he tried, and he's starting to really understand me and understand my aids and the difference of what I want. So I'm very pleased with that, and you can see how relaxed he stayed, how he's kind of stretching forward. Not very much down here. This would be kind of a medium stretch for him, and although he lost a little bit maybe of his activity there, though he started to get a little bit slow. So that one thing that I noticed now that I watch this after a week. And then I just changed the rein. I just did that one time because, or those 2 times, because I felt that it went really well. It went okay, and I just let him stretch down and have a break. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side and see how that goes. So these days it's I don't ride him very much because it's so dark here that it's just not possible during the week, so that's a bit of a shame. So here I'm doing the same thing, and as you know, he's noticed that his head came really way too high, but look at this was pretty good. 1 or 2 steps there, and he actually kept his bend very nicely there, so that was really good. And he's still remaining relaxed, and I'm allowing him to stretch more down as he wanted there. Okay, let's see how this side goes. So here I'm asking him to come out. Really nice. That is a nice leg yield. I'm really happy with that. He stays supple, and then I'm asking him to go back. And that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for him. He's earned his pat. So I was pretty happy with that. That's great. It's just that he didn't hesitate anything there. And he just did what I asked. And there I stopped because I felt that he wanted to stop, and I was wondering if he needed to pee. But no, I just waited a little bit, but he didn't do anything. He very rarely pees during the sessions, and even if he need to be, I don't know why, but he's learned that he doesn't want to go during the schooling, which is a pity because it would be nice if he could relieve himself. That would be fine by me. So here starts the trotting part of our session, and we just at first concentrating on that he's moving relaxedly around the school and starts using him himself good. And he tends to, I don't know why, but he still tends to be a little bit hollow. As here you can see the rhythm is changed for the worse, obviously. When his head is this high, he's not really working through his body there, although it is his worst side on the left here. And here you can see it goes hollow. I just follow with my hands and relax when he goes down, and I'm all the time I'm asking here for him to just get on with it and start using his, start stepping better with the inside hind leg and so on. And I came back to walk here because I thought like, okay, let's take a break, or I don't know, maybe I saw something, or maybe he was distracted, or I forget what happened there. Sorry. But it may have been that I just felt like, okay, let's get back to walk for some, and let's try again. As you can see, he's not that supple yet in the trot here on the left, and all I'm asking him is to start working better. Stretch down and start really using his hind legs better, and he starts to work much better here. But there you can see the rhythm gets or it gets rhythmic. He's stepping when his head comes too high and when he goes hollow, like there. But there again, if you can see the change in the rhythm, that's pretty good. And I'm just asking a bit of leg yield here. Just thought like, okay, you have gotten a couple of rounds of just trotting around, and let's just start to see if some leg yield would help you to concentrate on the work and getting on with it. So that's just simple things I ask. Just I'm having very soft contact, and I'm just following him with my hand. I'm just keeping a constant but quite gentle contact. As you can see there, I dropped the contact for a bit there. So, and I think there was some horses going past there, and he just always gets a little bit distracted. Has to have a look every time there's something going on outside the school. So here you can see how he can still get distracted and how he can lose the good work through his body in the trots still. I'm just asking for a bit of leg yield there. And there he gives me much nicer work now on the right rein, mind you. So that's the easier rein for him, and that's looking beautiful. As you can see, the difference of work between the two reins, it's quite staggering with him. At least you can see it here, how much easier it is for him to work on the right rein in the trot as well. Here we had a bit of a spook. Yep. The obligatory spook on those tires, but I never minded. I just continued. It didn't really, actually I did not lose my balance at all there. He took a step sideways, and I just went with him, and I just put my leg on and said like, okay, let's just continue. And so we did, and I just decided to do a couple of smaller circles there to just get his attention back, and that's looking really nice. That's looking really nice now. So I was pretty happy, and just going back to the spooky side. But after that, he didn't really feel like he was gonna spook. Or if I felt him tense there, I just growled at him, the growling helps with him as well. I'm just saying like, oi, this is silly. You know, they're just tires, let's just get on with it. And there on that long side you can see that his head came too high, and he didn't really work that well through his body there with this high head carriage. And here I'm just concentrating going straight again, just straight lines. And he's still a little bit tense through that short side there in the trot, but it's not too bad. At least it's not spooking. And actually the only thing I'm wanting here is just keeping his rhythm and keeping his pace and just keep going. And here we do a little bit of canter work. I was thinking that maybe that helps to release some of that tension that he has and gets him going a bit better. He's a little bit tense at first, but there we start going much nicer. Every time the head goes a little bit higher, as you can see there, he stops working optimally, but every time it goes a bit lower in the canter, it just transforms him. And here we get a really nice stretch. So that was a lot better. So now he's moving much better there. You can see how the rhythm there, it slowed down just a bit too much. But before it was too much, it was actually perfect. You could see how he slowed, but he still stepped under very nicely there. And now his head is too high again, and he's doing that's a really difficult turn for him. I was just putting my inside leg on, and I was very conscious of keeping the outside rein contact good, but not pulling on the inside, just using my inside leg to the outside rein. And you can see that work on the right rein has really improved the left rein trot as well. He's much more supple here. He's not as looking outside anymore, and his work is much more flowing on the left now. Oh, that's great. That's a nicer stretch there, a little bit more. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. Yeah, that I think that was a little bit too high head there for a while. And that's a little bit too high again. He's losing that good rhythm there for a while. I think he's anticipating a little bit of canter work there, and now he's a little bit annoyed. I was wondering, what is something's bothering his ear? So I stopped here. I just rubbed his ear a bit. I thought there's something in the ear, so something's bothering his head. I didn't see what was going on, but I could really see that. You can see he's shaking his head, and it's like, oh, something's annoying him, his ear. So that's why I stopped there and gave him a rub. When I got off him, I noticed why he was annoyed. It was because his brow band was stuck a little bit too high. Unfortunately, I didn't notice it when I put the bridle on, but it was stuck a little bit too high, and it was rubbing his ear a little bit. So that's why he was a little bit annoyed with it. So it started to get sweaty now in his ear, and it started to rub a little bit annoyingly. So that's why he's a little bit shaking his head there. And here we go again a little bit. I thought asking for a bit of canter and see how that goes. He's a little bit hollow there in the start, and he's just running and he's looking outside here. So this is hollow, and what I'm trying to do here is I'm just keeping the contact but not pulling, following his head, and just asking him to listen to my inside leg and start to work. Like there, that's a lot better. There he starts to work. That's it. He's still looking a little bit outside there, but is looking a lot better. So that's nice, that's beginning to be really good. And that's where I thought, okay, that's great. That's enough canter work on this rein. And look at that trot afterwards. Yeah, it's a lot better. So for him, the canter is a very good suppling exercise, especially on the left rein. Just have to ask for that proper work still, and just he can do it, I know, so I just persist with it and just ask him to listen to my inside leg and start using that those inside hind leg and stepping under better, and start to bend and stretch forward and down and so on. So here I go, changing rein. So that day was okay. It wasn't the most brilliant session, but it was yeah, it was pretty much average. And it's what you can expect if you just you can't really ride him more than once or twice a week at this time, because it's winter and it's very dark and so on. Here I'm asking a little bit higher head and a bit more activity. So I'm just pushing him here a bit more on the right rein. Do a little bit of leg yield here. And then I'm just pushing him a little bit more. So he gets more activated and it gets more push, and there I'm allowing him to stretch down, and then I'm just picking him up again a little bit more. And he's responding very nicely. He's not throwing his head up, and he's just getting on with it. Quite a tight turn there for him. He was struggling with a little bit of that, and that's also a bit of a struggle there, but I'm managing to keep him going. You can see the change in the rhythm in the bend there a little bit. So that's a telltale sign that he finds it really difficult. With that level of engagement and that level of activity, that turn was a little bit too small, so to say, too tight. That's looking pretty okay. That's the head is a little bit too high there. Now it's good. Now it's really nice. Now it's really nice. And I'm keeping into a big circle here instead of going straight lines at the moment. I'm just asking him to work a little bit with the higher activity, and that's very good work at this moment. Yeah, that's very good. And I'm just asking him to stretch, and I think that's it for the trot work. And that's almost the end of our session. I'm just going to walk for a couple of minutes and ask a couple small things still from him, but that's about it. I'm just working him down, kind of cooling down him, winding down the session, so to say. So that's pretty good, yeah. Yeah, so it's a shame that I can't ride him more often because of work. We are at the stables maybe at 7 o'clock in the evening, and then it's really pitch dark, and yeah, it's not ideal at the moment. It would be nice to have an indoor school to go to, but we just work with what we have, and that's just how it is. We just have to adjust to it. And yeah, so, and this week unfortunately I couldn't ride him at all, because the school surface during this weekend was just was not good. It was totally icy, and even when he has studs on, I was not happy to ride him on that surface. I did manage to lunge him, but yeah, I didn't want to take the chance that something would happen if I would ride him with such a icy and hard surface as we had this weekend. So I'm hoping that next weekend and during Christmas there will be some better weather and better surfaces so that we can film again and ride a little bit more, because that's I'm really missing riding at the moment. Lunging is great, but it would be nice to ride him because he's really developing really nicely now, so that would help him. So here was our session. That's the end of our session here. I hope you enjoyed it, and talk to you next time then. Bye.